All right, let's jump right in. We're talking about something where the stakes are, well, astronomical. Using AI in corporate finance. It's this incredible clash between the push for productivity and the absolute need to protect a company's biggest secrets. And believe me, the risks can run into the billions.
And just so you know where we're coming from, this entire explainer is pulled from Chapter 6 of a fantastic AI security tutorial by Virtualization Options LLC.
For any finance department out there, this is the big dilemma, right? On one hand, you've got these incredible AI tools that can just tear through data and spit out insights in seconds. But on the other hand, the finance team, well, they literally hold the keys to the kingdom. We're talking about the company's most sensitive, most valuable financial data.
So, that brings us to the one question that really gets to the heart of it all. What happens when the very same tool that's making your team superstars is also the one thing that could completely wreck the company? And this isn't some far-off what-if scenario. This is happening right now. See, finance departments don't just handle numbers. They are the guardians of what are truly the crown jewels of the company. This isn't just regular data. It's unique, it's heavily regulated, and it is incredibly sensitive. So when this stuff gets out, especially to an AI, the fallout can be, well, catastrophic. Let's really dig into what's on the line. I mean, just look at the scope of this. It's staggering. And it helps to think about these in terms of the kind of damage they can do. You've got huge market risk, right? Stuff like draft earnings reports or M&A plans getting leaked can move the stock. Then there's massive strategic risk. Imagine your competitors seeing your internal budgets and forecasts. And of course, there's the huge privacy and reputational risk tied to things like payroll, tax returns, and banking details. Every single one of these is a landmine just waiting to be stepped on.
Okay, so talking about it in theory is one thing, but a real story, that makes the risk impossible to ignore. So we're going to walk through a real-life cautionary tale. It's a redacted case, of course, but it shows exactly how a finance team with the best of intentions, armed with an AI tool, created an absolute corporate nightmare.
And this quote from the CFO involved in the incident, it just says everything, doesn't it? They had all the fancy firewalls, all the security protocols, but the threat wasn't some hacker in a dark room. It was one of their own people just trying to get their job done a little faster.
So let's look at how this whole thing went down, step by step. It all started with something we've all felt, pressure. A senior analyst is up against a deadline, struggling to write the narrative for the quarterly earnings report. So what do? They turn to the easy button, a public AI tool, and they upload everything. Everything. Draft financial statements, forecasts for future revenue, even the details of a secret merger that hadn't been announced yet. And sure, the report gets done. But then, just a few weeks before the big earnings call, the legal team stumbles upon it. And that's when the first domino begins to wobble. And the first domino to fall? The market. The company was forced to disclose that this super sensitive market-moving information might have been leaked. The reaction from investors was immediate and just brutal. The stock price tanked, wiping out millions and millions in value, almost in the blink of an eye. Then came the regulators. The SEC got involved, launching a full investigation into the company's data security. And this was not a slap on the wrist. The final settlement was a massive multi-million-dollar civil penalty, a direct financial punishment for failing to protect their data.
And the third domino, well, that one's actually still falling, the lawsuits. Angry shareholders filed a class action suit claiming the company had terrible controls and misled them. The legal fees alone have already climbed into the millions, and it's not over. So think about that. One simple action by one employee set off this devastating chain reaction of financial and reputational ruin.
Okay, that story is, frankly, terrifying. But the point here isn't just to scare everyone away from AI. It's to get prepared. So let's pivot from what went wrong to how to get it right. How do you build a fortress around your financial data that still lets your team innovate without, inviting total disaster? And this really boils down to a fundamental choice. The whole mess we just talked about happened because an employee used a public consumer-grade AI. The kind where your data just gets absorbed to train their model. The right way? Secure enterprise-grade AI. These are private, lockdown tools. They often have SOC 2 certification, which is a huge deal for data security. And they come with a contract that guarantees your data stays your data. It's all about giving your team a safe sandbox to play in, instead of letting them wander out into the wild. The big takeaway is you need layers of defense. It's not one thing, it's a whole framework. Think of it as 4 essential guardrails. First, you have to classify your data. You need to know what's just confidential versus what's highly restricted, stuff that could move markets. That top-tier stuff needs one simple ironclad rule. It never, ever leaves your network. Second, deploy the safe tools we just talked about. If you don't give your team a secure option, trust me, they'll find an insecure one. Third, you've got to mandate specialized training. This isn't your generic security seminar. It has to be finance-specific, covering things like SEC rules and insider trading. And finally, you have to monitor, audit, and be ready to respond. That means tech like data loss prevention to block leaks before they happen, regular audits, and a clear plan for what to do the second something goes wrong.
So that brings us to the final word here. This tension between using AI to move faster and the absolute need to protect a company's financial core, it's one of the biggest business challenges out there today. It's not about choosing innovation or security. It's about figuring out how to do both brilliantly. So I'll just leave you with this question. Is that productivity boost your team is getting worth $1 billion mistake? It's something every leader needs to be asking. Thanks for tuning in.